Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm recording in somewhat strange circumstances. I have a cat on my desk. He won't leave, so we're recording this Decktech with a cat here. The audio might be a little bit scuffed, but I'm doing my best with the conditions I have. He's very cute though, so maybe it's worth it. I have a fun video for you today. This is a deck that I have been stewing on for quite a while, and it is a deck that, if you are a Legacy player, will probably look familiar and frustrating, and that is Spy. So I've been working on this this Spy deck in Highlander for a little while now, and I want to, before I really get into it in earnest, give some credit to Moxfield user Nivius. I don't know if this person's also on the Discord. I didn't check for their name, but this lines up pretty close to actually when I started working on this deck 3 weeks ago, and they have a couple of versions of the deck up on their page, and I would be remiss, I think, if I did not at least mention that this is another person who has been clearly working on the archetype pretty hard, which is very cool. Nice to see multiple people trying new things. And I know there are other people who've worked on this deck in the past as well. I know I'm not the first one, but I just wanted to give a special call out here because I thought these lists were very cool and interesting. Okay, so Spy. What is going on with this deck list? So, oh, yep. Champion would like you to know that he also knows how Spy works. So the way that Spy works now is very different from how it has worked historically. Back in the old days, when Spy was printed originally in Return to Ravnica, the machinations you needed to kind of jump through in order to make Spy work were pretty significant. The biggest one being, this card was actually printed as a mill card. Like, it was supposed to just read like target opponent mills 8 cards until they hit a land. Like, this effect was printed in the same set as, or in the same kind of shard as cards like Mind Grind, which do similar things. Or I think original Ravnica has Mind Funeral, which is the first card that has this text of mill until you hit a land. But pretty quickly people worked out, well, if I just don't put any lands in my deck, I can deck myself with one card, which is very powerful. So for a long time, in order to make this work in Legacy or in other formats, and Pauper as well, you would either need to play cards like Land Grant to like pull lands out of your deck, or you would just need to actually play 0 lands. So in Legacy, you would accomplish that with, like, you know, Lotus Petals, Dark Rituals, Chancellor of the Tangles, and Spirit Guides, ways to basically make mana and then spies, and you would deck yourself and you would win. Now, in modern Magic, they have completely broken this mechanic with the MDFCs, so multi-face dual cards. I don't actually know what it stands for. I just know that it's MDFCs. So obviously, these were originally printed in Battle for Zendikar, and in Battle for Zendikar, we had mostly tapped lands with the odd untapped MDFC. So, like, for example, one of the Battle for Zendikar untapped MDFCs, I'm looking for it now. Here we go. Turn Timber Symbiosis, right? There are a couple of these. They're expensive, they're hard to cast on their other side, and they actually bolt you to come into play untapped. You'd pay 3 life, quite a substantial cost. And so initially, the Legacy Spy decks got to adopt these because you could play 4 of each of them. That was great. It definitely juiced up the power level of those decks. But unsurprisingly, this is a theme, I think, when you're talking about, like, decks that have gotten large power spikes recently. Modern Horizons 3 is really what has kind of cracked this archetype open, and especially has done so for Highlander. Previously, when you were forced to play only the Battle for Zendikar lands, you didn't really have enough, and you really didn't have very many untapped lands, which matters a lot. But in Modern Horizons 3, they printed multiple untapped single color MDFCs. So Boggart Trawlers obviously is one of them for on the black side, and then, like, we have cards like Fell the Profane comes in untapped, and this matters. Sink into the Stupor is another classic one that people kind of think of. Where's my sink? Sink into the Stupor. Here it is, right here. It was right in front of me the whole time. So this makes a big difference in how you can build your deck, because now all of a sudden you're playing a Spy deck that just gets to play lands. Previously, your no land Spy deck that had this cool, fun deck building restriction now still has a deck building restriction, but the deck building restriction is basically have a mana base that sucks a bit, but you still get a mana base. And I think finally with the MH3 duels, we have enough that we can just play a reasonable looking mana base in Canadian Highlander. So what's going on in this deck? We've got about 30 MDFCs that makes up the mana base. You're playing all of the untapped ones in the colors that you care about. So that is to say you're playing all of the blue, black, and green untapped MDFCs. I'm pretty sure I'm not missing one, am I? Oh, no. Yeah, it's Hydroelectric Specimen is the other blue one. Yeah. So you're playing all the untapped ones in every color that you can. You're not playing the white or the red ones, though I think that would be defensible. Untapped colorless land might genuinely be playable in this deck. I've got to do some more investigation. Then you're also playing most of the tapped ones in the bug colors, and then also you have a couple of dual lands from Modern Horizons, which are nice as well. I'm even stretching as far as to play some of the tapped dual lands that are off color, like this one makes green-white and black-white, obviously, and that's for a couple of reasons. Chief amongst them is that Bring the Light is in this deck, and being able to cast it for 4 matters. But you basically now have a combo deck that gets to play like 30-ish lands, and then the rest of the deck just needs to be mana and ways to put Spy on the battlefield. So we are doing that in this deck with Mana Dorks. Got a big pile of those. We've got even stretching as far for Ornithopter of Paradise. This is a sweet one, and one that I need to give credit to Niveus, because they're the one who found it. Or who I saw it in their deck list, and I thought, that's actually a good idea. Next, you've got your Spy. So we have Undercity Informer, Balustrade Spy. These are the 2 effects that work as creatures. There is also, Pauper players will be familiar with Destroy the Evidence, which is a sorcery version of this effect. Slightly less powerful, but it is just relevant to have as many of them as possible. Also, you get some nice intersection where Hermit Druid cares about finding a basic land, and it turns out if there's no lands, this just mills your entire deck as well. So you get to play Hermit Druid as well. This is a card that actually in earlier Highlander days was a massive amount of points and has taken really kind of an astonishing amount of time to come off the list. But you get to play that as well as another combo enabler, which is nice. And then you're playing the fast mana that makes sense. So you've got some Spirit Guides, you've got Dark Ritual, Culling the Weak, you've got Chrome Mox, Lotus Petal. Can't play Mox Diamond in this deck for obvious reasons. And then I'm reaching for a bunch of artifact mana as well. So I've got Mana Vault, Grim Monolith, Pentad Prism, 1 Signet. I could see maybe putting Dimir Signet in here as well over one of these talismans. I do like sometimes that on turn 2 you can go like Talisman plus something else, which you can't do with a Signet, which is why I'm reaching for more Signets than maybe normal. So then, yeah, I've got 4 Signets and Solar Transformer, another nice Modern Horizons 3 card. And then other than that, you've got ways to find Spy. So, like I mentioned already, we've got Bring to Light. We have cards like Nature's Rhythm and Eldritch Evolution that can go get it pretty directly. We've got Lively Dirge, which is nice. It kind of works both ways. If you fire a Spy, they counter it. Lively Dirge is a way to get the Spy back. Or for 5 mana, this is just a Spy, which is great. We've got effects like... Oh, I wanted to cut this. Sorry. Oops, not add more. Remove. This is not in my deck anymore. We've got effects like Beseech the Mirror. This one is maybe too hard to enable. I've got to do more testing to decide whether or not I'm going to cut it, but it's so powerful that it seems worth including, at least for the time being. And then you've got some other kind of funky ways to win the game. So that's like things like Recross the Paths. If you're not familiar, this card basically reads, reveal the cards in the top of your deck until you hit a land, then put it into play, and then you get to put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order, and then you clash, and if you win the clash, you get to put Recross the Paths back in your hands. Fun fact, if you have no lands, this card just reads stack your deck for 3 mana. So what this lets you do is just put a Spy on top for 3 mana, or I want to maybe include Brainstorm or something like that so that I could kind of use this as like a mini Doomsday effect of sorts, so that I could maybe go like put Brainstorm on top of my deck and then be able to draw like Untapped Black Source or Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Spy. That might be kind of interesting as well to give me more resources, but I haven't done that yet because Brainstorm is not a super easy card to enable in this deck. Lastly, I think I should talk about how this deck actually wins, because it is an interesting decision point when it comes to building this deck. And it's the last thing that I feel like I really need more testing to decide whether or not it's correct. So you'll see, I'm sure, if you've been looking at the list, that this list includes Thassa's Oracle. Now, Thassa's Oracle is expensive. It costs 6 points. It's using up a large number of your points. And the reason it's powerful is because once you deck yourself, you're going to mill over a Narcomoeba, which will come into play immediately. You can then cast Cabal Ritual from your graveyard, sacrificing the Narcomoeba. This is going to both trigger your Bridge from Below, and it's going to pull in a Poxwalkers from the graveyard, assuming all these cards are in your deck and not in your hand. So that's going to make 2 more creatures. So you basically get to upgrade your Narcomoeba from 1 into 2 creatures. And then assuming your combo piece was Spy, that's going to leave you 3 cards or 3 creatures right away to be able to flash back your Dread Return, get your Thassa's Oracle, and win the game with the trigger. So there's also some redundancy built into that. I've got both Dredgescape Zombie, and I've also got Fate Stitcher in my deck. This means that if you go off with +1 mana, like if you go off with 5 mana, you can create another creature, or oftentimes 2 other creatures, which I think is nice to have, because sometimes you draw the Bridge or sometimes you draw the Poxwalkers, so you can't always 100% guarantee that you're going to be able to go off just with the cards that are getting milled. And yeah, that's a consideration as well. Lastly, we have Hogak, Arisen Necropolis, as a card that once you have decked yourself, if you get back a Dredgescape Zombie and you have either a Bridge from Below token, you can tap these 2 to convoke out the Hogak. So that's also relevant. It's another way to get another creature onto the battlefield. So there's a bunch of ways to get up to 3 creatures. And then you are going to Thassa's Oracle your opponent. There is, I think, a reasonable argument that this Thassa's Oracle could instead be Lotleth Troll, which is 6 mana, and when it ETBs, it drains your opponent equal to the number of creatures in your graveyard. We have 32. I think you could go up to more. I think you could play 37, 38 pretty easily, and that way it would very reliably be dealing like 25 to 30 damage. The issue that I have with that being your combo is that it is a lot more awkward if your opponent does just manage to gain 10 life or 15 life. And where this deck doesn't really have a plan B, I think you sort of have to make sure that plan A wins the game on the spot. But I could be wrong, to be completely honest with you, and it could be correct to save the 6 points and be able to invest them in, say, like a Mox or a Soul Ring and a Demonic Tutor. Like something like that feels like a totally viable way to take the deck as well, and it's probably something I will explore at some point. But for now, I am playing Thassa's Oracle. So this is Spy. It's a pretty sweet deck. It's doing a lot of really cool things. Obviously in Legacy, full disclosure of my biases, I do think this deck should probably not be legal in Legacy anymore. I think the MDFC interactions with the Spy cards just make it not really that interesting. I think when those decks were genuinely like 0 lands decks, they were pretty cool and pretty fun. And now I think that we're no longer really paying a deck building cost to have to build these decks. Oh, cats are fighting in the background. There's combat happening. But yeah, so anyway, so this is Spy. I played against a member of the Discord who is often on there, so big thank you to them. And I will say I'm showing you one of 2 matches. It's the second of the 2 matches that we played, and in the first match I did get smoked, and it's not especially interesting to watch, to be honest, but I think it is important for me to disclose that we didn't just play one match and this is how it went. That also there was one where the deck got absolutely crushed. So I don't want you to think that this deck is totally unbeatable and anything like that. And I am showing you a pared down sample of games so that you can see more of the interesting ones where I had to make interesting decisions. But yeah, without further ado, this is Canadian Highlander Spy. Okay, playing first, playing Spy. This hand has a lot of mana, and it does have a Spy, but the Spy costs 6, but I think I'm going to keep, actually. it's just enough mana that I feel like it gets pushed over the edge. It has, like, I get to play a bird next turn, and then the turn after I get to play a talisman, so I have so many live draws that even if this gets discarded or something like that, then I have outs. Okay, Mox Pearl, good start, good start. One thing that I considered when building this deck is I have Thassa's Oracle as the win condition. Well, my opponent has the stone cold nuts against me. This is something that happens in Modern if you've been playing much of that format. Is that the like blue Belcher decks and stuff get absolutely annihilated by White Plumid Phantom or White Orchid Phantom, sorry, and yeah, hopefully my opponent doesn't like flicker it or something, but knowing me, that's probably what's coming. Okay, so I take 3. My life total is also like meaningful. Okay, so I can play this untapped. I'm going to take a ton of damage to do this, but I think it's worth it. Oops. Because this puts quite a lot of mana in play. So I have 4 mana. I can go up to 5 mana next turn. If one of these was one of the MH3 MDFCs, we would be really talking. But as is, we're only kind of talking. So I think I'm just supposed to play this tapped, and this is one of those kind of funky spots where you cast one of your MDFCs as a spell. It doesn't happen very often, but okay, they have 2 removal spells. But no black mana? But no black mana. Okay, so they're making Construct here. And yeah, assuming I untap, Coast is pretty clear. I'm definitely blocking, I think, if I get given the option to. I'm allowed to because the Grim Monolith lets me get up to 4 mana. Oh, did they not make a construct on my... Oh, no, they did make a construct on my end step. Sorry. It just happened so fast. Okay, yeah, they get Black Mox, which lets them play one of their removal spells. So I do think I need to block, right? It's awkward. No, I can... No, I need to block because I need second green source, and if they fatal push my Birds of Paradise, okay, well, I have to block like this, and then they get to kill my birds. Yeah, maybe I was just supposed to play Grim Monolith last turn instead of playing the discard spell. I don't know. I assume they're just, yeah, they're playing the Accursed Marauder probably, and yeah, okay, they're just fatal pushing. Okay, well, untapped land is good here. That would be very good. That's not an untapped land. So I can only Finale of Devastation for 3, and I need to Finale of Devastation for 4. God, they had to have the White Orchid Phantom, hey? Yep, okay, they got it. Brutal. Urza Saga looking very good in their deck. Alright, I will play first. So this does have a combo piece. It's Destroy the Evidence. It does not have a black source currently. It can cast Bring to Light for 3 colors on turn 3. You'd really like for it to be casting for 4 colors. but I think this is a keep. It just has enough of the right stuff that you have to just keep it. And you might be thinking, boy, this looks like a lot of marginal keeps. I do think that's what you just sign up for when you play Spy. The idea that you're going to have highly keepable hands is maybe not quite there yet. Okay, they're fetching. Forsaken Miner. All right, random 2/2 I can deal with. Okay, that's a black source. It's good. So let's play green, and then we'll play this Elves of Deep Shadow. So next turn, we can actually bring to light for 4. We have a lethal bring to light next turn if we get to untap with this elf. Okay, I think we're doing it. I think at long last, after a decent number of games, we're gonna get to spy someone on turn 3. Right? White, green, play Seagate. Oh crap! Play Seagate Reborn. Pay the 3 life. Exile Simeon's Spirit Guide. Add black, white, green, blue, cast Bring to Light for 4 colors, and then we'll pop out our graveyard and actually execute the combo. But here's Bring to Light for 4. We get Balustrade Spy, cast without paying its mana cost, target me, have a cat scream at me because it's very close to his dinner time, and okay, yes. Almost crashed Magic Online because I'm milling 100 cards. We get to mill this Narcomoeba, and then technically you could even just go for it here, right? Because you have 3 creatures and you can just get back your the thing. But what I will do is cast Cabal Therapy, targeting my opponent, sacking the Narcomoeba. I've got a Bridge from Below trigger and a Poxwalker trigger. And I'll just name... I could name You Are Already Dead. That's pretty funny. And they are, in fact, already dead. They're war cards that killed me, but... and then we cast Dread Return on Thassa's Oracle, sacking these 3 things. Okay, good. They laughed. They thought it was funny. That's good. That was kind of... I think that's actually true. Without, like, surgical or something, I don't think they can win the game, but... Okay. Well, we did it. We did the spy thing at least once, so that's good. Turn 3 with a Bring to Light. That is making me want to put Simeon's Spirit Guide in this deck. It is not currently in this deck, but that turn is making me wish I had it. Okay, well, this is a keep. This is a turn 3 spy, just natural turn 3 spy. This has lots of the untapped MDFCs, which is great as well. The only small complaint you might have with a hand like this is that the black source is a talisman. Okay, or the other complaint you could have is that they're going to Thoughtseize your Balustrade Spy. But I wonder if they're going to take the spy or if they're going to take the talisman, for example. Like, do they think it's easier for me to get to a second spy or a second black source? Amusingly, I think the answer actually might secretly be another black source. That it's harder for me to get to another black source. Okay, so we'll play the Drowned Jungle. Pass. They are going to Enlightened Tutor here. Could be pretty good. Okay, they're going to get Saga. Yeah, makes sense. So my plan now, obviously on this next turn here, I'm going to be casting Talisman of Dominance off of probably Turn Timber Symbiosis as my land. The reason being is that both Sync and Bridgeworks Battle are like actually castable spells. The Agadeem's Awakening gets Spy back for 7, which, although not trivial, is technically doable. My opponent has, of course, gone and fetched the White Orchid Phantom with their Recruiter of the Guard, which is nasty. That is just strip mine on a creature, but I have a lot of lands this time, so it's less devastating. Okay, let's play Serpentine Wood. Let's pay 3 mana. Let's play Talisman of Dominance. And let's pass. My hand is actually just like all lands, so we just need a creature now. A 2-drop, so at 5 mana, a 2-drop creature will upgrade into Spy. Oh, it won't work, actually, because the Spy is out of my deck. So I can go 1-drop into Undercity Informer into Sackett. That works still. Yep, I get to kill a land here. That's fine. I actually have lots of those for once. I do not wish to use the ability. Technically, if I get up to 7, Agadeem's Awakening is a win condition as well, so I'm going to hold on to that one as a land for a while. Sylvan Tutor. Well, I feel like we're definitely casting that one. The question is, do we just go get Undercity Informer? I can also get Spellseeker and Spellseeker up a Reanimate. Let's take a quick look at my deck. We know we're casting this, so let's just think about it for a second here. Undercity Informer is like the level 1, very obviously the best choice, but let's say if we did get, because next turn we will have 4 mana, correct? Yes, okay. So let's say we did get Spellseeker. We have Spellseeker, which then gets Reanimate. Just double checking that I put that one in my deck. Yeah, okay, which gets Reanimate. So that kind of gives me 2 shots at winning, because the Seeker might stick in play, and then I could Eldritch Evo it. I don't know how meaningfully different they are, to be completely honest. I think I have an untapped blue source, I have an untapped black source. Both of them are in my hands and in play, so they're not different in that regard. Seeker loses to Opposition Agent. That's enough of a reason, I think, to put Undercity Informer on top. That's a card that my opponent can have that I couldn't beat, and as a result, I think I'm supposed to play this way. Okay, so my opponent is probably getting Haywire Might here. We've played a couple of matches already, and they've Haywire Mighted me in the other ones. Okay, it's Clamp and immediately Clamp Recruiter of the Guard. So this seems like alarm bells are going off for them, and they're correct in that, like, they are dying next turn if they have nothing else. It kind of this insinuates to me that they don't have anything else. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Tidehollow Sculler has no text here. I have multiple untapped mana sources, so I can beat the Sculler just fine. The fact that the combo piece went on top of my hand is good. Now I guess if they have a way to remove the Talisman plus, then they're fine, but it does not look like they do. Okay, well, let's play this. Pay 3 life. Play the Undercity Informer. Target myself and sacrifice Undercity Informer to its own ability. Yes, I will. And in this position, they do have a access to a mana. So technically, if they have a removal spell here, it could get awkward. But what I have to do is cast Cabal Therapy right away, targeting them, sacrificing Narcomoeba, never give them a chance to take it off the board. Put my triggers on the stack. And name, let's name Fatal Push. No. Oh, have I punted here? Oh, in my head, I got an extra, oh dear, okay. Well, I think this is the old pass the turn spy myself, actually, because I don't have another thing that I can get out of the yard, because Hogak requires 2 untapped black creatures to convoke. Oh, in my head, this Poxwalker's entered untapped. Okay, well, that's a bit awkward. A bit awkward for sure. I'm not dead, because I can Memory's Journey myself. But it's not good. Let's just say that. Oh, I should make sure I put an upkeep stop. Jesus. Okay, so here's the Palace Jailer. Jailer, I assume, hits the old... Yeah, they become the Monarch. They're going to exile the Poxwalkers. But now I can just go to 4, and I'm fine at 4. Okay, yeah. I could block, but I don't even need to. Yeah, we'll run the no blocks. So we'll go to 4. My cat is here very angrily informing me that it is his dinner time. He's right. Yeah, you're right that it's time for dinner. Hold on. Okay, upkeep. In my upkeep, we cast Memory's Journey. Target me. Choose as the card to shuffle back into my deck. Reanimate. I don't think I have... Yeah, I don't have Unearth in my deck anymore, which is maybe a small blunder, but it is what it is. So I put the Reanimate back in my deck. Say done. Pay green. And then we will go to exactly 1, reanimating my Thassa's Oracle here. But 1 is not 0. And boom. Spy! We've done it. All right, what a match. Nice. Now I gotta go feed my cat before he eats my arm.